Browns, well, they got one linebacker in the deal, and in this past, and they need some more help. But I think it's obvious if you look at the depth chart, the linebacker situation is something that needs to be dealt with.
Yeah, I mean, certainly it has to be dealt with from an experience level. We saw some good things last year with the young guys, but you can't go into a season with those guys and think you're going to be an elite defense. So I would imagine they're going to add even more players as this thing goes on.
Well, here's what you have right now. Mack-Wilson, who showed promise last year. bj-Goodson, who came this past week. He's set up as the Mike linebacker. Sione-Takitaki. Then you go to the second team, who most people haven't heard of at all. Tae-Davis, Willie-Harvey, and Jermaine Grace, all on that team. I would expect some changes in that department, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would, Les. I just, I know I've been beating this point a little too hard probably, but you can look at individually and say Kirksey wasn't worth what, he wanted and wouldn't take the contract they were offering, the discount. You can look and say Schobert, isn't that great of a player, doesn't make great plays all the time. But those guys brought a lot to this team, both on the field and in the locker room, and they're going to be tough to replace.
Yeah, and I've always thought that if you want a guy but the price is too high, there should be a way that you can make it work if you want the guy, because you're letting somebody else make the decision for you.
Yeah, and clearly they must have, looked, and I don't want to say everything comes down to analytics in this organization, but I'm sure they studied the production of both of those guys and came to the conclusion that market value was not what they wanted to pay. So now it's up to them to make sure that we don't look back on this the way we've looked back on a couple of other guys, Mitchell Schwartz, who've left, when he should have stayed.
Well, there are some veteran options out there, not necessarily guys on their way to Canton's Hall of Fame, but there are some veteran guys that we can take a look at. You see josh-bynes there, and 30 years old, played with the Ravens last year, 46 tackles, couple of interceptions, 1 sack in 12 games, and there you see his contract situation at the bottom. As in his career, 101 games, he's got a total of 4 interceptions and 3 fumbles forced in those 101 games. Then you have mark-barron. Take a look at mark-barron, who played last year with the Steelers, and 82 tackles, 1 interception, 3 sacks in that 15 games, 9 interceptions in his career, total of 119 career games, and you see the contract situation there. And then Markus-Golden is on that list of potentials, 72 tackles, 10 of those sacks, 13 forced fumbles, and 6 fumbles forced in 62 career games, and there's the last contract situation. And that came with the New York Football Giants. 216-575-0403.
I was just going to say, had we seen Joe Wood's defense here last year, we might have a better feel for who fits best there. But we had, but we didn't. I mean, we know what kind of system he likes to run, but from a detail standpoint, it's hard to look at any of those 3 and say, this is the one guy that they should go get. We'll just wait for them to do it, Les, and then we'll criticize them if they were wrong.